Good morning, guys. I guess good night for you all. I hope you all can hear me. I've actually never used Google Hangouts before, so this is kind of all new to me. And I have no idea how to find out if you guys can hear me or not because I don't know how to turn on the text feature. So give me 1 second. All right, I can tell that we have 6 viewers online. And I'm going to go over to Facebook. So if anybody is on Facebook right now and can message me just to tell me that you all can hear me, that would be fantastic. Perfect. So Belinda texted me. She said you guys can hear me. So Belinda had actually spoke to me recently about just jumping on here and doing some trainings. We did some trainings back in the day for you all. I guess it was several months ago, maybe even before Summit. It's been a while. So I'm excited to get on here, and I wish there was a way for me to see your all's face so I could get to meet you. And you know, we're gonna be out there in about 7 weeks, 6 weeks, I guess now. So it's really exciting, and definitely can't wait to get out there and have you guys show us around and help you all build. So I'm gonna give you guys a rundown of what we're gonna talk about. The first thing we're going to do is talk a little bit about prospecting and how we use a story versus a testimony. They're two different things, and how our story is really the part that is going to get us the most results, and how to be compliant though when sharing a testimony, something that you know, we always try to do but tend to not always follow, is being compliant on our testimonies and sharing those with other people. And so we want to be sure that we're not being doctors. We want to, you know, be real. We know that everyone's body's different. So Moringa and Zija, because Zija is Zija's not Moringa. You know, it's all about being compliant. And the third thing we're going to talk about is how to get not just ourselves off to a fast start, but our team members when we help them get started. So like I said, good morning to everybody who's joining us. And you'll just have to excuse my look because I just woke up. The joy of being across the world from you all. So I want to talk about the vision first of Australia. And as you guys know, this is like the 1 year mark from when Belinda got started with Zija, and it's exciting to see what's happened over the past year. You know, we started with one. She brought in her first, you know, group of people. They came over to the United States to a conference, and then that was in I guess around April or May, and it's continued to grow very quickly over the last year. And they, you know, several of you guys, about 10 or so of you got to come over here for the convention last year in September. That was huge. And I believe now the last numbers I've looked at, maybe there's over 1,000 in Australia. I'm not sure of the exact number, but that's huge, guys. I was looking at mine and Brandon's number, and what our business did last year at this point to this year, and it's done it every year in Zija for us, it's completely doubled. Now, our income has doubled every single year, and it's almost like in a single month, it just shoots up. And it's not because we're anybody special, but it's because it's a team effort, and everybody comes together and starts to build this together. So it's very exciting to see how that all works. And you guys have a very strong base now, foundation in Australia, and to be able to have that under you and to be able to run with that, you know, going forward with 2016 is going to be a lot of fun. And so I'm so excited that Dan and Charity were out there recently. Those guys are phenomenal. They know how to use the system. They know how to build a network marketing team. And so you guys are learning from some of the best. And you know, with that being said, I don't even think you need me because they're better than we are, I think. But so we're excited though to get out there and to share with you all, kind of what we did, because we recently moved as well. We moved to an area where we knew absolutely no one. And it what was really great about it is it helped us get back to the basics. It helped us come back down, to builder. We're the rank of triple diamond, in case you didn't know that. And so over the past, 5 or 6 years of doing the same things over and over, being very mundane about it, we started maybe, I won't say losing our way with it, but forgetting the feelings of that brand new person coming in and how they had to start. And so when we moved to Florida last year at this time, we got that feeling again. And it was good for us because it made it easier for us to go back to the new person and say, I know what you're going through. Let me help you with that. And that's where I came up with this idea of the story versus the testimony, because it is the story that really, for lack of a better word that I want to use here, it's the story that sells. Stories, people can relate to stories, people can understand, they can, there's something they can grasp, versus when we share a testimony. So the story is, just to back up, the story that you share with people is how you came to find Zija, where you were before Zija, what was your job, what is your job, what struggles were you having, and how was Zija that potential solution. Now, the testimony, on the other hand, is what did Zija do for you? And here's what's interesting is that answer is going to be different for all of us. Someone who might have some health issues, Zija may help with those, but someone else who has that exact same health issue, it may not help with that. It's not a guarantee, because we don't, because we're not doctors, we can't make those claims for people. And so you never want to, you always want to undersell the product. And so Brandon always gives this analysis, and I really love it, which is, if you have a sample pack, a lot of us give out samples to prospects so they can get that taste. And so when we do this, though, what we actually do is we say, here's a taste of the products, and it may or may not be for you, but I want you to give it a shot. And yeah, it's XM Plus, so maybe they're looking for energy. So here's some XM Plus for you. I don't know if you'll see anything in one night, but why not give it a shot? But really just have it for the taste. But remember, it's the most nutrient-rich plant ever discovered on Earth. So maybe the taste buds aren't the things you need to worry about. So a little joke in there, but be sure that they understand that, hey, you might not see results off this. It's better when you do a 4-day weight management sample. In the beginning, I used to say, dude, you're going to lose like 4 pounds on this, and then give it back or give it to them, and 4 days later, they're like, I didn't lose anything. And I'm like, oh man. Of course they didn't want to get sorry, because I didn't hold up my end of the deal. So if you go back though to it, and you go and you say, hey, here's a 4-day sample. This is just so you can see the routine of what it would be and get the taste for it. So I don't know if you actually lose any weight on this, because it is only 4 days. But why don't you give it a shot, and we'll catch up here in 2 or 3 days. And then 2 or 3 days later, they're like, oh my gosh, I lost half a pound. And they probably had a detox tea, so of course they did. But you can see where it's very different. I didn't give them any expectations, and so a half a pound was huge. Whereas when I gave them the 4-day sample, maybe they lost a half a pound, but because it didn't lead up to the 4 pounds I told them they would lose, then it didn't matter. That half a pound wasn't important. They were looking for 4 pounds. So I didn't give them a goal to reach. They had their own, like, if anything happens, I'm good. I'm ready to go on this. And so always underselling the product is very important when we're out talking to people. So sharing our story. So my story is, my name is Jessica Hayes. I came, from a background of retail management, and, I was working 100 plus hours a week. Sorry, 80 plus hours a week. But there was a week where I clocked 100 hours, and that's where that came from. So retail management, working 80 plus hours a week. I had recently graduated from college with a degree in healthcare administration, about $30,000 in debt, US dollars, of course, and struggling financially. I was going home at night just wanting to pay off the couch I was, sitting on. And it was like a $300 couch. So, me looking at that now, I'm like, wow, I couldn't pay that all. But it's something that several people struggle with. And so people are, already in my story, they're like, man, I got stuff I want to pay off. Man, I went to school. I never used my degree. I've worked 80 plus hours a week. And so you can see all the commonalities I'm building as I'm sharing my story with people. And they're also gaining that trust because they're like, she's been through what I've been through. And that's what the important part is. And so I'm able to share that story and say, how I found Zija. And I found Zija because a family member approached me with this, saw me struggling, wanted more for me. And the funny thing is I get to share where I was a little hard-headed, and I get to go ahead and remove that excuse for the prospect. And so the way my story goes is I had my brother-in-law approach me about Zija. And he said, hey, I want you to do this business with me. We're going to get rich. And we were like 22, 23 years old at the time. And me being Miss Know-It-All, I said, absolutely not. I don't want any part of it. And I was like, it's a pyramid scheme. It's a scam. I don't even know. And so it's really funny because 12 months passed. And that was when I clocked 100 hours at my job. And that was the week of Christmas. Of all weeks, that's when people work the least. That was the week I actually worked the most. And that was the week that everything started to change for me. And so I started to ask myself, is this really what I want to do, 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now? If I have, a family, if I have kids, if I have a husband, how is it possible for me to have a relationship with them? And I know that people do it every day. People are working, they're the husband and wife are on two different schedules. The kids are off to daycare every day. The only thing the parents get to do is tuck them into bed, and maybe they only get to see them in the morning. Maybe they only get to see them at night, and they probably only get 30 minutes to an hour with them. I knew I did not want that as my lifestyle, and that I had to change something. And so that's where, a year after my brother-in-law approached me, I went back to him and started to see what had actually happened for him. And he was making a significant income, one that I was very jealous of. And I knew that I wanted to have the same thing that he had. And I just decided that if he could do it, I could do it. And I just wanted him to show me everything he did so I didn't have to reinvent the wheel, because I was still working my job. It's a lot easier to work this business when you have money, not when you're broke. And so, I kept my job, but I started working Zija in those little part-time, those little areas where I had some free time. And that's where I was able to do some amazing things. That's my story, right? That's the part that people connect with me. They gain my trust through that. And so that's where we want to be sharing with our prospects. Now, testimonies come in a little later in the game. Testimonies can be shared a little bit from the front of the room, at a big event. Testimonies can be shared maybe between distributors, what Zija is doing for you. We've got a guy down here on the coast, and he has an incredible testimony. And we did a Super Saturday a couple days ago, and I said, hey, why don't you come up, share your testimony? And then I had to tell the audience, if you have your phone, don't post it on Facebook because it's completely not compliant. And I was like, but it's a powerful story, so I want you to hear it. And so people know if it's not compliant, don't post it on Facebook. That goes to say when you have great results, we want to hear them. But there is a correct way to share those results so that you are staying compliant. And what we mean by compliance is, so Australia has the same type of governing agencies as the United States. I don't know what they're called there, but here in the United States, even me just as a citizen, I can't go to someone and say, hey, this plant, it cures this. I can get sued for that. I can get in a major lawsuit over that. And that's the same thing in our business. Unless you're a doctor, unless you have that degree, that paperwork, it's very, you might want to be very careful to share what some of these things, to share that something is helping with or curing, or, we don't cure, treat, diagnose, mitigate. We don't do any of that. And so be very careful in the way that you share your stories to do it correctly. And that also means getting online, even in the Team Tenacity page, and asking for stuff. Asking for testimonies. Hey, I have someone who has diabetes. Who do you know that's using Zija that has diabetes, so I can share with them how it cured them, treated them, and mitigated them. We don't need to do that. And I know that you guys are phenomenal. You're not doing this. Us Americans, we still haven't got it figured out. We're still training on it. But so yeah, I want you to just be very conscious, because what you do now, I talked to you guys about having your foundation at the moment in Australia. What you do now sets the tone for what's coming in the next year. And if you guys can get really good at being compliant and helping each other out in a very friendly way, helping each other out. Hey, I noticed you kind of posted this on Facebook. You might want to change this word. You might want to take that word out. And keeping everybody, compliant there, and also teaching it to your brand new person, and just helping them understand, because they're coming into a whole new world, helping them understand what's okay and what, is kind of leaning on the edge of not okay. It's a good thing. So don't ever look at it as a bad thing. I know I started kind of policing Facebook a little bit where I could with distributors, but I never wanted to look like the bad person. So I kind of just put it off on Compliance at Zija. Hey, Compliance at Zija says you can't do that. And there's actually sources that you can use to push to your distributors to help them understand a little bit. And one of those websites is faq.zijacorp.com. So that's frequently asked questions.zijacorp, so corporation.com. And I use that a lot. If you've not looked at it, you're probably going to find a lot of great things there just for your own personal use. But it's a great little area, especially when it comes to compliance about, hey, can I ask people for their testimonies? I talked about my testimony and what parts of it can I talk about? It's just a really great resource. There's also a Facebook page that is Zija Compliance. And if you can find that page, Jason Allman does a great job of sharing some little stories on there just to make things a little more understandable. So that's enough about compliance. That stuff's boring. Nobody cares. So anyways, but I do want you to understand that sharing your story versus your testimony and how powerful it is. So there's my story. You guys heard it, how it relates with people. Here's my testimony. I was a gymnast growing up 15 plus years. How many of you guys actually can relate to that? Probably not many, maybe one or two. So I was a gymnast growing up, had a lot of back pain. Maybe a few more people relate to that, not everybody. But it helps me with some of that. And I can go on and on. I have, other things in my body that needed help on, and I'm not even going to share it with you on here. Even in a training thing where we're over the web, I know Belinda's trying to film this for you guys. I'm not even going to share it with you here because it's not as powerful as my story. Because there's different things in my body happening that, yes, it's getting better, but it's just because I'm putting good stuff in my body, where when I was 22, 23, well, you guys know what a 22 and 23-year-old, does, freshly out of college, we're tearing our bodies up. And same thing, someone who's, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, they're that old, they're that into life, and they've been ruining their body for that long. So when you start to put something good in your body, something great starts to happen. That is just that right there. If you need to share what the products do for people, that's it. That's what the products do for people. It's the best thing you've ever put in your body. And so it's going to give you some of the best outcomes. Plain and simple. So let's move on, and let's talk about getting your people, your new distributors, off to a fast start. And if you haven't been able to do this yourself, get back with your sponsor, your upline leader, and have them go through this process with you. And so the first things I'm going to talk about is the ABCs and getting started. And some of you guys may have already seen this, But A stands for access. And what access means is when you get started, your sponsor, or when you help someone get started as the sponsor, you should introduce that brand new person almost immediately. If Brandon and I, even at, late at night, 10, 11 o'clock at night, if we are putting someone's information into the system, getting them started, especially if it's a gold or diamond kit, if it's one of the larger packages, we're calling them right now and saying, hey, I know it's late, but if you've got 20 minutes, I want to introduce you to a few resources that you can have in case I'm not available. Because who knows, I might get stuck in the bathroom and may have had a detox tea. I might get stuck with the kids doing something. I might, whatever it might be, there might be something that comes up that I'm not available for my brand new person. And I want them to have resources. I want them to have an abundant amount of resources. And so immediately when someone gets started, I want to give them 3 to 5 people that I'm going to connect them with via connection call. So I want to connect them to someone via connection call and just say, hey, hey, Belinda, can you just share your story and just, put your hand out to this person, as a resource. And all Belinda's going to do is share her story and say, hey, if you have any questions, I'm here. Get my number. The door's now open for us to communicate freely. And, just know that I'm just a resource for you. I'm your friend in business now. We're side-by-side business partners. Let me know what I can do to help you. And you're going to do that with 3 to 5 people. And that gives that person, they feel part of something now. They feel like they're part of the team. And everybody can go on to Facebook and welcome them. We send out welcome text for our people. I know it's hard to do it across the waters, but for you guys, it's sort of welcome text. You guys do a great job of welcoming people on Facebook. But, let's get into their personal world as well. And let's send them a text. Let's give them a call. And just say, hey, it's really great to meet you and excited to have you as part of our team. Let me know what I can ever do for you. So aside from the sponsor welcoming that new person to the team, they're going to introduce them to 3 to 5 other people. Other people meaning, your own sponsor. That would be a good start. Maybe a couple of other bronze leaders. And I wouldn't, anytime it's possible, introduce them to Beck and Belinda and Lisa and those guys who are some of your top leaders in the market. Be sure that you're getting them introduced. And even some of you Builder 500s and Builder 1000s, you guys are experts. Some of you guys can be stepping up and doing some of these calls as well. I know for myself and Brandon, we were doing expert calls, when we were Builder 500, Builder 1000. The first call Brandon ever did as the expert, Chris Estes, which is our #1 U.S. money earner, Chris Estes used Brandon as the expert. And Brandon had like a couple weeks into the business probably. And it was all about training. And so we do that a lot to our people. When we have somebody come in that's brand new, they're smart, they get it. They're those people that they can just memorize your words and go about it. I'm like, hey, I need you for a connection call. And they're like, they just say, okay, because they don't even know what it means. And then I'm like, I just need you to share why you came to Zija. It's everybody has their story. A lot of people say, well, I need to get my story, I need to get my testimony before I get started. No, you already have your story. Let's just get started. And so the first thing you want to do is give your people access to as many people as possible. That also means give them access to some training, give them access to all the tools that they need, show them where the videos are. And that leads me into the basics. We want to give them the basics of how they build their business. And you guys have heard it a million times. It's always going to be there. Just know this is how we build our business. It's proven, it's documented, we know it works. Everyone who's earned 6 figures in this business did it through this method, and that's peak, pass, plug. And I'll challenge you on this one. I'll add one in there. Peak, schedule, plug, pass, and then plug. And so I'm going to run over that just really quick. And so what I mean is we talked about the peak a little bit. But here's what I'll tell you is you have a powerful story, but someone who knows you, your story is not that powerful. Share someone else's story that relates to them. So for us who are, still in our warm market, it's as simple as, picking up the phone and saying, hey, Mom, I just got started with something. I'm really excited about it. I thought of you. build them up, give them a reason why you thought of them. Don't say, hey, Mom, you're fat, I need you to take Zija. That doesn't work. They might hang up on you. But say, hey, Mom, I respect you. You've given me a lot of advice in life, and this is something that I just got started with. I'm really passionate about it. I would love for you to just take a look at it and see if there's anything that you would like to know more about. And what's Mom going to say? Mom loves you. So she's going to say, okay, absolutely. So you're going to say, well, I don't have a lot of time right now. And be sure that is key. I don't have a lot of time right now. That way they can't come back and start asking you, well, what is it? You can always say, I told you I don't have enough time. But here's what I want to do. When are you free later this evening to chat? Would you be free around 7 or 8 o'clock? Give 2 options. That there's something to giving 2 options to your prospect, because they have to pick one. Typically, they won't say, neither. I'm not free then. If they aren't free at 7 or 8 o'clock, they'll say, well, I'm not free then, but I am at 9. So give 2 options. It just helps with the process. So, hey, Mom, I don't have time right now. I want to connect with you later tonight when I do have some more time. When are you free? 7 or 8 o'clock? Mom says, I'll be free at 8 o'clock. Great. I'm going to call you at 8 o'clock, Mom. Be sure you answer the phone because I'm going to schedule some time for you. And, I also want you to watch this video for me, because it's just going to give you kind of that 50-foot overview of what it is that I want to talk to you about. So you're probably going to be really confused afterwards, and that's why I want to talk to you. I want to tell you a little bit more about it. And that's all they want to hear anyways. They want to hear more about it from you. And so guide them into thinking they're going to get it from you. And then so now we've peaked them. Now we've even passed them, and we've scheduled our plug. So we've done all 3 of those. All that's left is at 8 o'clock is to get them on the phone and answer their questions from that, the 10-minute overview video. Here's the kicker: is you, as the distributor, you never get to talk to your own prospect. You never get to, if you're doing it the right way. I never tell my prospects anything about Zija. Even where I am today, I can whip out my check and say, do Zija, and they're in. I don't do that. I show them a very simple, diplomatic, is that the right word? Yeah, no. Anyway, duplicatable system that works for them. And so they can see the process unfold. And so at 8 o'clock, when I get my prospect on the phone, hey, Mom, did you get a chance to look at that video I sent you? She says, yes. I say, great. What did you like best? The products, the business, or both? I try to guide her. A lot of people are just looking to be led, so just lead them. Did you like the products, the business, or both? Mom says, well, I don't really understand, but I think I like both. Then I say, great. So did I. That's why I'm excited about it, because it all looks so great. So, just to go ahead and kind of narrow it down for me, Mom, what questions do you have? And Mom's going to say, well, product looks great. It's pretty self-explanatory, but what's this business? And I say, I'm glad you asked, Mom. That's one of the first questions I had. So I want to be sure I answer that for you properly. Hang on one second. And some of you know what I'm about to do, and it's the most important thing. If you're not doing this in your business, I would challenge you to start doing it, because your checks are going to go up. It's guaranteed every single time checks go up. When third-party validation is inserted into your business, your checks go up. So third-party validation, I've got Belinda on standby. I texted her earlier in the day and said, hey, I'm connecting with my mom at 8 o'clock tonight. Are you free for a connection call? She says, yes, that's all I need to do. So, 15 minutes before the call, I just text Belinda and said, hey, reminder, call in 15 minutes. She sends me a thumbs up. She's good to go. 8:05, I'm calling Belinda. Belinda answers, hey, Belinda, I've got Mom on the phone. This is Mom's question. And I maybe give Belinda right then and there while Mom's on hold, Belinda's on the phone. I might give Belinda a little bit of background, on my mom or on my prospect. So Belinda kind of knows who she's talking to. Hey, it's my mom. She's had 3 kids. She's retired now. She's financially set. However, I think that, the business could still benefit her from, tax liabilities or whatever it might be. Gives her a hobby, gives her something to do. Definitely want her to get on the products, but that's secondary to the business because she's asking about the business. Belinda, make sure Belinda's good. She says, okay, let's do it. connect the phone. So if you don't know how to do a connection call on your phone, figure it out, play with distributors to learn. But I connect Belinda to my mom, and I say, you know, hey mom, I've got a very good friend and business partner on the phone with me. She's done incredible things. She's actually been a really strong mentor to me in business, and has taught me a lot about, you know, how this business works. And I couldn't think of anyone better to bring on the phone than Belinda. And so what I'm going to do, Mom, is I'm going to turn the call over to Belinda, let her say hi, answer your question, and then I'm just going to sit on in the background on mute, and I'll come back on at the end when Belinda's done talking with you. So Belinda, with that, I'm going to turn the call over to you. And then I shut up and I put myself on mute, and I don't interrupt. Whether I agree with anything Belinda's saying or not, I don't interrupt, because I just spent all this time building Belinda up, that I don't want to rip it out from under her. And so I let Belinda talk. Belinda's going to be on the phone 5 or 10 minutes tops, unless Mom has a ton of questions. Belinda's just going to share her story, answer Mom's questions, and then in return, because I built Belinda up, Belinda's also going to build me up. So me being, you know, Mom's daughter, you know, yeah, Mom might think a lot of me, but Mom knows all the silly stuff that I've done. But having someone who I just built up and put on a pedestal up here, in return, pull me up to her level. Now I'm sitting at the same level that Mom saw Belinda at. And so Mom can now see me at this level on this subject. And so I do that at the end of the call. And if you're taking notes, write this down. This has, Brandon and I started using this when we moved to Florida. Sandy Watkins, some of you guys know her. Sandy actually gave us this line, and it clicked. I was like, huh, that's the missing thing. And this is the line that I use after every single call. When I do any sort of step with a prospect, this is what I always ended with. So Mom, do you have any questions that I can get answered for you so you can go ahead and make the decision to get started today? So I'm asking, do you have any unanswered questions? And I'm telling her that, hey, I want you to get started today. And so it's very simple. It's just, hey, you know, do you need any further information to go ahead and make the decision to join us today? However that works for you, whatever is best for you, whatever comes naturally to you, get that out. You need to make sure that you're asking, do they need any further information to make the decision to join you today? I want you to be sure that they know what the end goal is. And join us doesn't necessarily mean distributor. It could mean just customer. But you need to know if they need any more information so you can help them get started today. That's the goal. Let's be transparent. That's the goal. What information do you need? And they may say, well, no, I don't think I need any more information. Then you say, great, let's get you started, and let's look at the packages and see what's best for you. And then that's where you get to become, you know, that mentor or that coach to them to help them find the right products for them and their body and what issues they're having. That should be the only time you're talking about, you know, people's health issues, is when you're trying to get them started on products, because someone who has a major heart condition doesn't need caffeine. And so be sure you know those sort of things. Be sure that you're conscious of those sort of things, and that, you know, if somebody does say, because we had this happen, be sure that if someone does say, hey, I want energy, hey, I want weight loss, don't give them Super Mix X and PM&T. They're not going to get any energy from that. They might get some weight loss, but they're not going to have any energy. So be sure that you're listening to what the prospect wants. Be sure you're getting the products that the prospect does, what they'll actually get the best out of. And so so yeah, be sure to ask that question. What information do you need to make the decision to join us today? Here's what I'll tell you as far as when you're asking what information do you need. If they say, I need comp plan, don't go give them the ingredients list on Smart Mix. That's not what they asked for. Give them what they asked for, and that's it. The reason being is that you don't want to confuse them. It's not that you're holding out. It's that you're not confusing them. This is what they asked for. Let's take it one step at a time. Hey, great, you want to see the comp plan? Here's what I can do. I can shoot you over the comp plan video, not the document, the comp plan video. Take a look at it. You'll probably have some questions. It's a little confusing, but I can break it down for you and help you understand it a little bit better. And what am I going to do? When are you going to have the chance to watch that? It's a 5-minute video. When are you going to have the chance to watch that? We'll jump back on the phone and I'll answer your questions. We're going to set a time. And what am I going to do when I get them back on the phone? They're getting back on the phone with Belinda or Beck or Lisa or someone else to do that call. And that way somebody else can get on there and answer the question. And so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. What information do you need to make the decision to join us today? They say comp plan, I send video, we get back on the phone, I don't answer the questions, I get the questions answered from them by one of our leaders. And at the end of that, it goes back to the same thing. What information do you need to make the decision to join us today? Whatever they say, I provide, nothing more. So that is the basics. Be sure that everybody knows where to find the videos. I'll tell you, my main video that I use is just the second video. I know for us, it's zija123.com. You guys have your own website. Whatever that video is, Belinda knows, she can share it with you. But be sure people know where the tools are. Be sure that you are plugged in. Be sure you know when the team calls are. Stay connected with your upline. And here's a little tip is that if you're sitting there and you're like, man, I've not heard from my upline in forever. This stinks and I'm going to quit because they never call me. Well, it's a little flip there. Brandon and I never call our distributors. They call us. And it's because I don't want to bug someone. I'm not your boss. I fired my boss 5 years ago. I don't want to be anyone else's boss. And so just know that if Beck, Georgia, Belinda, Lisa, whoever it is, if they're not calling you, it's not because they don't like you. It's that they're out trying to prospect and keep building that market as you should be doing. And, they're there for you to do calls. They're there for you for training. They're there for you when you have an issue that you cannot resolve on your own, that you can't call corporate on your own and resolve. That's when they're there for you. So just to make sure that you guys know, I know this is a lot that I've thrown at you and about the 40 minutes that we've been on here. So the last thing is ABC. We've talked about access, give people access to the team, basics, peak pass plug, get plugged in, and commit. The last thing is commit. Get your prospects to commit for 1 year. They're not committing to you. They're not committing to Zija. They're committing to their self because of their reason why. Be sure you know your prospect's reason why to commit to for their first year in business. What that does for you is getting a verbal commitment. Says, hey, I'll be on auto ship for the first year. That's a good thing, right? We want to build up our auto ships. That's our team commissions. And so, hey, I want you to commit, or, are you willing and ready to commit to be on auto ship and build this business for the next 12 months? And you can always make it a little heartfelt for them. You said that you want to get little Johnny a bike for Christmas in 12 months. Are you ready and prepared to do that through this business? They say yes. You say great. And you can even get, someone, whoever that expert is on the call, get them to do that. Get them to ask for that commitment. So that's ABC. I'm going to open this up if I can figure it out. If not, I don't know what to tell you guys. I tried to do Q&A earlier and it wasn't working. So we're going to try it. It keeps saying this feature is disabled. So why don't I want to answer your questions. What if, chat. To list all available comments, enter something. Wow, that's interesting. I don't know what that last thing is. Let's see if I got it right. Can you guys see that where I just listed a chat thing? I don't think I did it right. Oh, there we go. It's an inline private message. All right. Somebody jump in the chat thing and see if you guys can see this. I want to see if I can see your all's chats. Well, this may be difficult for all of us. All right. Well, I wanted to do a Q&A with you all. If you guys, I don't know if you guys have any ideas. I don't know if Belinda's over here messaging me. Well, that's all I have for you guys. So I guess what we can do is, if nobody can get in the group chat to chat with me, because I probably don't know how I'm doing it, then we can start a feed on your team page, and we'll let that go for the next 5 or 10 minutes, and I'll try to do my best to answer some questions. Yeah, Belinda said she can't see the chat. There's a chat. I don't know if you guys have a little box. It's like a blue box that, oh, I guess you guys just see a video instead of what I'm looking at. I don't know how this works. Hang on one moment. Oh, I can see your comments on this other thing. So you guys can comment on this thing that you guys are commenting on anyways. It's like the, how do I get rid of that? Michael just said good morning from Canada. If you guys can see that page, then you guys go there and comment, and I'll answer your questions from there, if that works for you all. And I'll just take like 2 or 3 questions, so make them good. Georgia said, hey Jess, when you are scheduling the follow-up call before passing the info, do you say that you will call them and get their questions answered? When you are scheduling the follow-up call before passing the info? Yes. I'm being very blunt with them throughout the process. So, you know, when I'm scheduling that follow-up call, it's very much, hey, you're going to watch this. You're probably going to have some questions. I want to let them know that, hey, I want you to have questions. So when I call you, we're going to get those answered for you. We'll go a little bit more in depth about what I want to share with you. And so they think that you're going to talk like they want to do right there, then and there. They want to know more about it. You just say, I'll get you more info. We'll chat a little bit more about it tonight when I'm actually free. What you never want to happen is right there in the very beginning when you're peaking them, you don't want peaking to turn into passing and plugging all in one sit down. Simply because you never want to let the prospect take control of the conversation. And the person asking the most questions typically has control of the conversation. And so if you're able to schedule it down the road, show them how the system works, show them how, you know, when a lot of people are like, well, how does this business work? Well, let's show them. Instead of telling them how they can peak, pass, plug, and use their upline as support, let's show them how it's done. And so that's what I would say there. Let's see. Let me refresh this. So hopefully that answers your question, Georgia. But yes, I definitely always share. Bob said, oh, I don't know, Bob. It's a great question. All right. Any other questions, guys? I'm excited to get out there in 7 weeks and see what Australia is all about. So you guys give us some good ideas. I want to go to a zoo. I want to hold a baby kangaroo. I think Brandon wants to do the same. I was going to get him to come in here and hang out with us. I think he's got some stuff going on. Michael said, how difficult would it be to put a team directory together showing location, time zone, and contact number to simplify 3-ways? It's a good idea. I think that Belinda can probably pull together a list of those who are qualified from, you know, her point of view, who's qualified to do those connection calls, and probably put something up on the Team Tenacity page. And that way you guys can all have it. Here's what I'll tell you is do not get in the habit of just sending that to your prospect. That just doesn't cut it. Be sure that you're actually introducing them via connection call to several of those leaders. So they can see the process of how connection calls are really valuable in this business and that third-party validation. So what you do, they'll do. What you don't do, they won't do. Just remember that. So it's kind of a monkey see, monkey do business. If I'm telling people to go do connection calls, but I'm not doing them, then it's probably not going to work really well. So, but you guys y'all are brilliant. So you guys can figure that out. So I'm going to refresh this one more time. And it looks like that was the last question. So definitely fun hanging out with you guys this morning or tonight. It's night for you guys, morning for me. And y'all got me up bright and early, so I'm going to get started with my day and knock out some stuff. And I'm excited to be out there in a couple of weeks. So connect with me on Facebook if you haven't, and I'll chat with you guys soon. So have a good night.